But we're also getting further updates coming in, sir, requesting you to stay on with us. We're now learning that US President Donald Trump's plane is landing at the Ben Gurion Airport. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu arrived at the airport to welcome Trump to Israel. This, of course, marks the start of Trump's visit to the Middle East, in which he will be meeting the families of the hostages. He'll be addressing the Knesset as well. And then he'll be heading to Cairo to co-chair the very crucial Gaza Peace Summit with Egyptian President El-Sisi. Still with us on the broadcast is Mr. Xavier Abu Eid. We've, of course, been discussing this crucial summit that is on the anvil. Donald Trump has been striking a very optimistic tone. It's going to be quite a whirlwind visit for him. He's in fact stated that this particular deal that the United States administration has helped broker, there of course live visuals are coming in. The Air Force One has now landed. And he stated that this Gaza deal might be the biggest thing that he's ever done. Would you concur with what he says?
Like many other statements that President Trump has delivered, we have to remember that a deal like this would have been achievable over a year ago, and thousands of lives would have been saved if the political will was there. Let's remember that the genocide in Gaza is being conducted with US weapons mainly. So it was a matter of one phone call from President Trump for things to end. He did not see things there. But perhaps it was Benjamin Netanyahu's insistence on keep going that from one side isolated Israel internationally, which was not good news also for the US, which is very close to Israel, as well as the Israeli attack on Qatar a few weeks ago was clearly a turning point for President Trump to start taking action. Now, once again, I think it's important to remember that the US does not really have a clear policy here in this region. They have not spoken yet about ending the Israeli occupation or a two-state solution. And therefore, when people talk about how crucial the meeting could be in Egypt, I think it will be a very good photo opportunity. But so far, we need to understand what kind of policies will be presented there.
And speaking of policies, you know, we've interestingly seen a statement coming in from Donald Trump with regards to the West Bank. He's warned Netanyahu against the annexation of the West Bank. This was, of course, done, as you've pointed out, in the aftermath of Israeli strikes on Qatar. Could that then have been the catalyst? Should we be hopeful of this indicating a shift in US policy, or is this mere lip service?
It is certainly important that President Trump made this statement clear. But we also have to understand that currently in the occupied West Bank, we do have a process of annexation, at least de facto, as stated by the International Court of Justice. So I think the question here is how many steps are going to be taken in order to withdraw the Israeli occupation from Palestinian territory. At the same time, it's also important to understand that the West Bank is not even mentioned in this document of 20 points presented as the US or President Trump's initiative. But certainly, it is a positive step that President Trump delivered those words. But we have to understand that today is a very long way ahead of us. And I think the most important here is to set what the political horizon is going to be. Because if it is about achieving a two-state solution, which is the internationally or the solution of the international consensus, then there is much more to be done. And the key for that will be to end the Israeli occupation in the West Bank and Gaza.
Indeed. I request you to stay on with us, sir. We, of course, knowing that Trump's plane has just landed at the Ben Gurion Airport on the outskirts of Tel Aviv. A number of key figures are there to greet him, including Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, his wife Sarah, US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, advisor Jared Kushner, and his wife as well, Trump's daughter, Ivanka Trump. In the meantime, more updates coming in. Israeli Prime Minister's office has shared a personal message that has been written by Benjamin Netanyahu and his wife Sarah for the returning hostages. You can clearly see the hostages will be welcomed back with open arms, and that letter has been penned over there. It reads in Hebrew, "Welcome back. We've been waiting for you. We embrace you." And the message also, in fact, along with the message, the Israeli Prime Minister's office has informed that the welcome kit for the hostages includes clothing, personal equipment, laptop, cell phone, and a tablet as well. This is, of course, taking place on the Israeli side, but in the meantime, on the Palestinian side as well, people and Palestinians who have been suffering with the bombardment of the last 2 years, they're, of course, holding on to hope. A total of 250 Palestinian prisoners serving life sentences in Israeli prisons are expected to be released in the West Bank. 1,716 Palestinians from Gaza who've been detained will be released at the Nasser hospital. With us on the broadcast is Mr. Ali Mohammed Abushbak, independent Palestinian researcher, joining us from Cairo. Thank you so much for taking our time and speaking to us on NewsX World. We're witnessing a very landmark moment. People have been holding on to hope for so long to finally witness this ceasefire, this hostage prisoner exchange that is taking place. But also something that we've touched upon in brief earlier itself is the fact that post-war reconstruction is something that will take a long period of time in Gaza. We've been seeing these visuals of homes being reduced to rubble. You've pointed out earlier that, Gazans don't have access to hospitals as well. So what is the most urgent, pressing need that must be immediately addressed on the ground in Gaza?
Thank you for having me. The thing is, on the ground, the Palestinians so happy for the ceasefire and to hold the Israeli military operation after 2 years of continuous bombardment. The reconstruction, the Palestinians need before the reconstruction, they need clean water, they need electricity, they need network, telecommunication, they need also a bank, broker, they need everything before the construction Gaza. The thing is, on the ground, the devastated civilians in Gaza nowadays, they are demanding for a tent and for also a shelter for as a temporary time for them until Israel is or until they are going to address or readdressing the reconstruction Gaza. Also on the ground, the Palestinian this kind of ceasefire, there is no any celebration, there is no any ceremony on the ground. That's mean they are. Most of the civilians, it's not optimist that we are thinking. But as I mentioned last time, during the last truce or last ceasefire, how much Israel sabotaging the deal and turned the table upside down and resumed the war suddenly. So the civilians still have a fear about these things and about the Israelis return and resume the war again after releasing the hostages. Up to now, it's not clear is Hamas going to release all the captive and the remain body today or tomorrow. Especially we are talking about the tough duty for Hamas to release the remain body because of the huge destruction on the ground, and because also there is a similar of harder, but Hamas doesn't have, or Palestine in Gaza, they don't have a heavy machine and equipment to clean the way, to clean the home and to clean the rubble or destruction. Up to now, we are waiting for the coming news what will happen. Hamas handed over around 7 Israeli captive, and we are waiting that Israeli respond. And also, simultaneously, Israel prohibited for the Palestinians to celebrate from West Bank and Gaza when they are receiving the Palestinian prisoners.
Yes, in fact, apologies to interject. We've in fact seen recent attacks taking place. I'd like to address some live visuals coming in. Donald Trump has disembarked from Air Force One. He's at the Ben Gurion Airport in Israel. He's meeting Netanyahu. He's speaking to Netanyahu and his wife Sarah as well. We're of course seeing more information coming in. Netanyahu has stated that we have been waiting for you. This is, and it seems that quite a spirited conversation is underway between Trump and Netanyahu at the moment. Senior officials are, of course, present. We do know that U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, is also there, as is Jared Kushner and Trump's daughter and Kushner's wife, Ivanka Trump, as well. I would like to ask my PCR crew, is there an audio source for this, or is it just a video source as of now?
We've got to keep the carpet clear to the car, sir. Everybody can slide that way a little bit, slide this way. Open up the carpet. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, there, of course, animated discussion taking place. Trump greeting all senior officials who are present over there. It is, as he stated, one of the biggest deals that US has made in the recent past as well. We've seen, discussions. The first phase of that, of course, he's greeting his daughter Ivanka Trump and her husband and senior advisor Jared Kushner there as well. Quite the spirited conversation taking place on the ground at the Ben Gurion Airport. Trump will, of course, be meeting the families of the hostages. He'll then go and address the Israeli Knesset, and then he'll be flying down to Cairo, where Trump and Egyptian President El-Sisi will be hosting 20 world leaders from across 20 nations. The EU leaders will also be represented. And we also know for a fact Giorgia Meloni, Keir Starmer, Emmanuel Macron, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, EU Commission leader Antonio Costa, Spain, Pedro Sanchez, who's been a vociferous critic of Israel. He will also be present at these talks. We do know that King Abdullah of Jordan has also confirmed his presence, as has Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Turkish president. He'll also be there. Turkey, of course, has been one of the crucial mediators along with Qatar and Egypt. So after all the action in Tel Aviv, the action is going to be shifting to Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. Still with us on the broadcast is Mr. Xavier Abu Eid, political analyst. I'll come to you first and then I'll come to Mr. Bushbak after that. Mr. Abu Eid, we're witnessing not just these live visuals, but all in all, what are your expectations in the coming future as well after this particular deal has come into place? And, and in the context of what we've seen in the West Bank, as has been pointed out by Mr. Abushbak, what risks do Israel's actions pose to stability in the long run, if we take a look at what they've been doing in the West Bank as well?
Certainly, if you follow all what's happening on the ground, you don't have much room for confidence or hope for the future. I think it's certainly important that Israeli attacks on Gaza are going to stop, at least for a period of time. But this is not a ceasefire between Israel and Palestine. There is already an open war, even though not with the same intensity as in Gaza, against Palestinians in the occupied West Bank, where there is an ongoing process of annexation, whether they will be able to formalize it or not, as President Trump has already said, that he's not going to allow Israel to do so. And this agreement also is not bringing about a change in Israeli policies. The occupation is not going to end, the colonization will not end, and the separation between Gaza and the West Bank also will not end. The isolation of Palestine from the rest of the world is the same. So, in other words, if those questions are not answered, what we have so far is an offer, according to the Trump plan, to have an international group led by someone with a very dark history in our region, like Tony Blair, to be in charge of Gaza, and to set more conditions for Palestinian statehood. They don't even refer to a statehood or the right to self-determination as a right. They talk about the Palestinian aspiration. Therefore, I think whatever is being offered for the next stages does not meet the minimum that neither the Palestinian people nor international law could accept.
Indeed, with that, sir, I'd like to thank you. And I'd like to rope in Mr. Ali Mohammed Abushbak into the conversation over here. We're, of course, witnessing what now people have been hailing as a very, very crucial moment for not just Gaza, the West Bank, Palestine, Israel, but also the Middle East at large as well. And a lot of people have been having conversations and they've been a little skeptical about whether this ceasefire will hold or not. Would Israel violate the terms and conditions, as we've seen in the case of Lebanon recently as well? But we've now also seen some positive developments take place at the United Nations, with several European countries that are allies of the United States of America, such as the United Kingdom, such as France, Belgium, Australia, Canada, all coming out recognizing a Palestinian state. There was a resolution in which an overwhelming 100 and more than 140 countries voted in favor of recognizing Palestine, the rights of Palestinian people as well. Does it, in a way, at least pave the path, open the window, bring about conversation towards a two-state process?
The thing is about recognition, the Palestinian statehood, it's meaningless. I mean, it's just only as a politician symbolic to support the Palestinian, but on the ground, Israel will not let the Palestinian to establish their statehood. Israel is not empowering the Palestinian Authority, even in not empowering anybody in Gaza. Israel doesn't need, or Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't want Palestinian Authority to rule Gaza, doesn't want Hamas ruling Gaza, doesn't want any Palestinian independent ruling Gaza, except what they call it a technocrat government and ruling by or supervised by Tony Blair. So kind of self-determination this. As I mentioned many times, this is not a peace plan. This is a ceasefire plan. It's a parallel to Lebanon Hezbollah ceasefire, and Israel has a right to resume to target whoever want and to target kill any commander, to airstrike at any time, like we have witnessed daily in South Lebanon. There is a daily bombardment, but there is no response, there is no condemnation from international community. So the thing is, similar will happen with Gaza. Israel always doesn't care about its commitment to international law or commitment to agreement or deals or anything. So we have seen that during the war in Gaza, Israel doesn't respect the international law, doesn't respect the Geneva Conventions. We have seen several, international human rights organization, they called there is a genocide in Gaza. They confirmed there is a famine in Gaza. Despite all of these statements, Israel denied this. I guess what is happening on Sharm el-Sheikh today, what will happen at the summit, peace summit, I guess this is a demand for Hamas. Hamas want any guarantee Israel is not going to resume. It want Hamas embarrass Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu in front of the international community, in front of the public opinion, in case he's going to resume the war. So what will happen today, it's just only they will put Benjamin Netanyahu in an embarrassing position in case he's going to resume the war. About the mediator, about last time Israel bombarded Qatar, was a mediator. And there is Qatar doesn't pose any danger against Israel. So the thing is here, Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel acting over above of the international law, above with the impunity. So the thing is, it's very complicated. But what we need on the ground, giving the Palestinian a chance, Gazan civilians, giving them a chance to release, to survive a little bit. What they want on the ground, they need just only ceasefire. They want to sleep safely. This is the basic demand for the civilians on the ground. They want to sleep without any fear of bombardment, without wake up suddenly because of Israelis bombardment or because of the Israelis attack on the ground. Also, Pia, there is a no clear about the Israeli withdrawal. Israel up to now sizing around 53% of Gaza City, of Gaza Strip. So just only civilians live in around 40% of the size of Gaza Strip. This is make it more complicated, and it's not clear about the Israel withdrawal and how it's the I mean the dynamic how Israel is going to withdraw from this area. We have seen in the Hezbollah deal, Israel agreed to withdraw from some point, but up to now, Israel size have several of point in South Lebanon. That will happen in Gaza. Otherwise, how Israel will control Gaza, how Israel will control the Palestinian resistance if they are going anyone to going to make any danger or make any resistance action against Israel. And the international community will support Israel as well. We have seen 2 years Israel killing the civilians, just only condemnation and denouncing only this. This is their limit. There is no one, just only a few countries, they are posting imposing a sanction against Israel. But on the ground, there is a less country and the huge countries supporting Israel. They're still spending a several of money to support Israel in this war. This is the crucial things. When this the Israeli support and everyone on Western country, we have seen how much the international public opinion, the mental change and perspective about the conflict have been changed on the ground, and we have seen a several of protests on the ground to support Palestine, to support ceasefire, to stop what they call it genocide in Gaza. But there is no one respond to this. There is no one listen from the international leader. Even Benjamin Netanyahu. We have seen last 2 days when Witkoff he mentioned the name of Benjamin Netanyahu in the captive or the hostages square in Tel Aviv. How does Israeli protester they boo when they hear the Benjamin Netanyahu on the ground? Also in Israel itself, all the banners is thanking Donald Trump. There is no one mentioning Benjamin Netanyahu. I guess his life, his politician life, it's going to end as well. But he will resist again, and they will not let this happen. According to everyone in Israeli community, this war waged because of the personal purpose. Benjamin Netanyahu, he want to extend his ruling and his power on in Israel. Otherwise, he's going to the court and the jail because of the corruption accusation against him. So this is the main thing. Yeah, Pia.
Indeed, and we're also in fact getting, these are of course visuals from the hostages square in Tel Aviv that are coming in. People are cheering on, but in the same time we're also learning that preparations are underway in